Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry, to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds, to father and son back to back bombs, from Junior J, Joey, and Edgar, with Randy, A-Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff, to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C, to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano, to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. Trevor Lawrence,
Here,
Zach Wilson,
Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson.
Justin
Then,
Fields, Trey Lance.
man, Trey Lance, bro. Just
Woo!
how bad is it that Dallas don't would rather start Cooper Rush over you? Then you
Well, oh
have
man.
then you have my boy in Philly, Carson Wentz, who was
Oh
a
yeah.
knee injury away from winning an MVP and hasn't been the same ever since. Just all this talk about who's next and whatnot. You know who it really makes valuable is Ben Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you agree with him touching women in the bathroom or not, it really makes you value what his career was because really he was the only other guy to get in there and break the code. Flacco got lucky once.
What do you think about Eli Manning?
I
I mean, he
think
got two
Eli set
also.
the trend of trying to tell someone who wants to pay you $1 million to be their quarterback about where you ain't going. Just your money ain't good money. So I don't want to rock with you. But yeah, man. Yeah. Nah, this is
My oh
crazy.
my, Mariners lifer, Seahawks coming up with a great come from behind win. I know you love that deep down to your core, bro.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Just, after Philly's let down on that Monday night game, I've been looking for a way to get back under Indy skin ever since. And you guys with your inconsistent play all year has kind of made it easy. But like I said, it's either way. Uh, San Francisco being a 500 team just makes it better from all the shit that they were talking all last year. And at least when Philly came back off the Super Bowl, we at least went 10-1 to start the season. So that's good. It's good. NFC West is wide open. Hopefully, the dark horse and the darlings, the Arizona Cardinals, find out a way to win that thing. And if you guys don't make the playoff, well, you should be used to that. You're Mariner fans.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. We'll probably go for our third straight 9-7 season. We may or may not make the playoffs, but that's what happens when you put up a record like a 9-7. So we'll roll with that. Or I guess 9-8 now. 9-8. My math ain't mathin'.
Man, wait till they go to 18 games.
Sheesh. Are they gonna put in two buys? Or are they just gonna roll?
You think they give a damn about player safety? If they gave a damn about player safety, they'd have kept it at 16.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, you know they're trying to get that bid for another $1 billion TV contract with I guess the whole it ties together though the 18 game schedule going to permanent once a week overseas type of football game, man. So but as we know, man, Netflix is gonna be some bullshit on us for these beautiful football games because we can't even get a 60-year-old boxer to stay in focus, man. And that's another story, but you
I
you
still
know the
can't
money's
believe you
flowing.
watched that shit.
Hey man, I'd have watched Sister Wives at that time. I was so tired when I got home on a cold, rainy Friday night. It to me it was fantastic. But everything in life is perspective, man. The people out there that paid money, which I don't even know. I thought everyone paid for Netflix to a certain extent. But if you wasted 3 hours of your Friday night, I imagine I'd be pretty pissed. You come and sit down 20 minutes of an old man trying to stay alive. It wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah, we've been through worse. We've been through worse. Come on, Ty, not the sister wives. Oh man. Call of Duty Murray will fall off when esports start. It's just something about Kyler Murray. I'm just not a fan of. I'm just not a fan of that guy. But more power to him. I don't know a whole lot of other people that were top five picks in two different sports. The dude does have some athletic talent. I'll tell you that. Tay Williams
Real
better
talk though,
not
that
show up
speed.
in here tonight. Yeah, he better not. Yeah, we them boys. Where you at, we them boys? We've been waiting on you, homie.
Did they even play today?
Doesn't matter if they did, they'd have lost.
Fair enough.
I got a homie sent me a picture. I'm a Florida State fan. Sent me a picture of Florida State playing the bye week with no one else on the opposite side of the field, and we were still down 36-7. It's like, watch your fucking mouth.
Okay, so this is crazy, dude. This is crazy. Kyler Murray's 3-0 since the new Call of Duty came out. So maybe that shit's locking his focus in. But you know what, RG, speak on this. I know that the game plan in the second half to Super Bowls goal might not have been his most outstanding work, but I think that the Arizona Cardinals got a legit coach down there in the desert.
I miss Shane Steichen, man. I really do.
Oh no, man. Is homeboy, can we hear him or am I tripping? All right, all right. We'll try to get homeboy back in here in a minute. But Tay, I can appreciate that, man. As a lifelong Mariners fan, no matter how bad your team is, you got to back up your boys. But man, Dallas might have missed their little window right there. Holy shit. Texas Power, Kyler's supposed to be a male gymnast with that build. Man, that dude could fly through the air, though, if he wanted to go that route. But crazy weekend of football. We're still trying to get RG back on the mic here. My oh my, it's another sports podcast. Homeboy's actually back in Albuquerque, so that's good news for all of us. Getting back on the mic. Live chat, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? My beautiful Mariners and Major League Baseball as a whole have not done nothing so far on the off season. This is why football in general is lapping the beautiful sport of baseball. But it's good to see y'all back, man. Mariners, lifer. I can't believe that game today, though. Here's the thing: Geno Smith makes catastrophic mistakes, and we got our homeboy back in the building.
You got me.
The notorious RG, clear as a
All
bell,
right.
straight out of Albuquerque. The big homie's back with us.
So almost a good sports week for us here in New Mexico. Last week, last week our football team beat a team that's leaving to go to the Pac-12. Basketball team beat the 21st ranked UCLA Bruins. Then this Saturday, our football team did it again and upset the Wazoo Cougars. Showed Pullman, Washington that y'all ain't shit. Should have invited us to the Pac-12, but we did fall short today in Madison Square Garden against St. John. But hey, if you're a Lobo fan with that type of exposure, 3-4 in this Power Weekend, we'll take it. Lose me again.
No, we got you. We got you.
All right.
I wonder which. We know which Jerry, but I'm wondering too, man. So earlier this week, Jerry Depoto hops on the mic and is sheepishly saying that we're gonna expand the budget by a little bit. It's clearly not going to be Juan Soto, who rumors have it the New York Mets and Steve Cohen. are already offering him 660 million freaking dollars.
Oh,
Holy crap! Oh, I thought we thought the Mariners couldn't afford him at 30 large, 660 plus. Ooh, baby, be good to be an elite hitter, man.
absolutely. Absolutely. Nah, that boy's gonna get paid, man. That boy's gonna get paid and he deserves it. Let's not nickel and dime and waste time and act like we're interested. Let's just go on ahead and go sign Jose Abreu and Josh Donaldson.
Oh God. I think Kyle Seager's still in the area. Maybe see if he's got some bat speed left in that thing.
That dude should want to come back anywhere near us. Should have kept him around when we had the chance.
That's still kind of wild to me, though. I mean, I guess this is just how it goes, though, man. You know, some guys are going to stick around their pro sport until they literally can't do it anymore or they can't get a contract anywhere in the world. But Kyle Seager still had Major League Baseball left, and he decided he didn't want to move his family around for a couple last seasons. And then, of course, the Seattle Seahawks starting center Connor Williams retired in the middle of the week. Clearly, he wasn't playing football just for money because even though he probably looked in the mirror and was like, I'm not the player I once was. And some guys just don't want to be like that. But, God, RG, talk to me. I'd have a really hard time turning down a few $1 million to just finish the season, bro.
I'm not exactly sure exactly where I heard it from. And once upon a time, I heard a wise man say that quitting while you're ahead isn't the same thing as quitting. So
Mm,
if you've
okay.
been financially smart with the salaries that you've been blessed with to play this child's game, if you can retire before the game retires you, that to me is taking the ultimate victory instead of coming out here letting the game chew you up and then you not have a way to survive when you're out of the game. 66% of most professional athletes are broke within 5 years of when they stop playing. So if you have been smart with your chicken, as the homie Marshawn would say, yeah, there comes a point where you know what your body's telling you, and it's better to quit while you're ahead because that's not the same thing as quitting.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean,
Saquon
there's
needs
also the
offensive
happiness.
player. True,
Ooh,
true.
baby.
Again, what is the point of having made and amassed a fortune and not being able to enjoy spending it?
Hmm.
You know. So yeah, I definitely hats off to him. Hats off to him. Knowing when to walk away from the poker table while you still got chips in front of you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Saquon needs offensive player of the year consideration. He does. He absolutely does. I still think it's Derrick Henry, and I'm
Mm.
diehard Eagle fan. But yeah, so happy to have that man. So happy to have that man. And like most Eagle fans, I want to give a special shout out to the New York Giants for being the dumbest sons of bitches of all time. Well, I guess I don't know if I can say that because one time a team did trade Babe Ruth for nothing,
But that's when you could probably buy a team for $500.
right?
Okay, so I got to ask you this then, man. So clearly, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry have been clear cut difference makers for their new teams this year. But the analytics want to tell us to devalue the running back. Yet to me, I look at the teams that can run the ball. Clearly, it's a passing league, but everything's got to be within reason, within moderation. But talk to me, man, is the market for premier running backs gonna go back up a little bit? Just seeing what kind of difference a guy like Saquon and King Henry can do to different ball clubs.
There'll be some guys who could take advantage of the inefficiency in the market, just like how we look for certain derivatives when we're trying to take advantage of the market with what we have as well too. Um, but I also say this too: no matter what financial advice you could ever get from someone, you wouldn't know what to do with $10,000 until you actually have $10,000 to play with.
Hmm.
So until you are in a position to go after a difference maker and you got to bring him in and find a way to make it fit, I it's hard. It's hard because you look at Joe Mixon. I think he's helped the Texans. Who else? I think that Austin Eckler does bring a different level to the Washington offense as well too. Mariners Lifer brings up a good point. Running backs are devalued because of the lack of quality offensive linemen in this
Hmm.
era of football. I just think that we've gotten too pass happy in the NFL, and running the ball seems to be an anomaly. Or you look at Tampa Bay, they got three running backs. So if you're out there and you miss a block, they just pull you out of the game. So you never really have a chance to get any momentum going, never have a chance to really get into the flow. One mistake, you're on the bench, and then you watch this other guy get 15 snaps. Then your number gets called for X amount of snaps, which he can't. Then they pull both of you and put in the third string, and there's just no chance to really get it going. Remember when they said that the spread offense would never work in the NFL? And that's pretty
Hmm.
much all every team runs today is some form of the
Hmm.
spread offense. So yeah, man, I don't think we're ever going to see another running back be the number one pick, but it's definitely still a valuable part of your offense to be able to have if you know how to properly use them.
Hmm.
And again, I'm an Eagle fan. We have to remind Sirianni that we have this, if not number one, the second best running back in the game
Hmm.
sometimes. And then Saquon does something magical. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe we should have run the fucking ball more.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd add in, I think Kenneth Gainwell is one of the top backups in the league as well. I mean, if you got to go to your number two because Saquon needs a blow, that's about as good as a dude as a backup as you're going to find around the league. So,
Absolutely. And it's shocking to know that he's been in the league for 10 years.
what? Okay. I did not know that.
Right. Right. I'm not talking from a position of privilege. I was shocked when I found that out too. It was like, holy shit, this
Hmm.
dude's been around for a while.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. I think the one thing I would really say is that I think a running back can make or break your team, but clearly to me, seeing Saquon with the Giants and Saquon with the Eagles, you can't start your rebuild around a running back. The one thing we know is the Tennessee Titans offense the last couple of years started to fall apart because Derrick Henry had zero help. Saquon Barkley has Daniel Jones and no wide receivers. They both went to established teams. They went
Mhm.
to Baltimore Ravens, an established culture, a two-time MVP who might be the best running quarterback ever, Jalen Hurts. He's been a little up and down, but he had a damn near MVP quality season. He can tote the rock also. Both teams have good old lines, established cultures, and quarterbacks that can help the running back. I wouldn't build my team around a running back, RG, but if I get to the point where I'm at the Eagles or the Ravens and I got the money to afford a top tier guy, now we can really start cooking with fire.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely think that we were lucky that he became available when he became available. Again, just and then seeing how it all got to play out on Hard Knocks too is just
Oh,
even better. Even better. Let's see here. Sunday evening media. If the season ended today, pick number one would be Jacksonville. Travis Hunter, Rashawn Gentry, assuming they want to stick with Lawrence.
Travis Hunter doesn't. I don't even have to think.
I would say Travis Hunter, but I still don't trust a non-quarterback if unless you get someone to come out ungodly like Orlando Pace. I just don't see a non-quarterback not going number one.
Well, your two options are Shador Sanders and Cam Ward. Could you pull the trigger at either with either of those guys at number one?
Shit, I'm glad I don't have to make the decision. I pick Travis Hunter. I'd pick Travis Hunter, but I just don't see GMs doing it that way, man. They'll
Hmm.
find a way to pick a quarterback.
They always do that. That's how Daniel Jones goes in the top 10, bro.
Yes, they'll find a way to pick a quarterback. I just no, I don't understand the thinking behind it, but again, I don't get paid to make those decisions either.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think it's
to a certain
obvious that
extent, we
Travis
get it,
Hunter should
but
be. Yeah,
oh
I think it's obvious that Travis Hunter should be. Now, granted, he's not going to play 122 snaps a game in the NFL. That's just damn near impossible. Um, the game's a little physical, so he's going to have to play one or the other. But he might get a package or two. But yeah, he's not going to be on the field for 100 snaps a game in the NFL.
no.
Then you're just really going after a talented, undersized wide receiver. And with Genty, I think he's having an amazing year. Um, but really, other than Oregon, Mountain West football ain't where it's at. But then you look at a guy like Josh Allen who played Mountain West football, number seventh pick, and they're
Hmm.
and NFL loves the boy. So yeah, it's just football is one of those things that's really really hard to tell what direction they're going to go in. I just don't see a quarterback not being the number one pick, but hey, maybe this will be the anomaly year.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, hopefully, my Seahawks just come to their senses, don't try to get cute in the draft, and get a couple old linemen high.
Yeah.
Everyone knows we need to replace Geno at a certain point, but the worst thing the Seahawks franchise can do is reach on a shitty quarterback when we can easily bolster the team. This isn't a Super Bowl team right now, anyways. It's not a bad team. It honestly feels like the Seattle Seahawks and the Seattle Mariners are in a similar situation. Both teams have enough talent to contend for the playoffs, but I don't know if we could say either team truly has the talent to contend for a championship.
Allen's family doesn't own any part of the Seahawks, do they? Do they still?
Who?
Paul Allen, his family,
His sister has total control.
sister has total control. All right.
Yeah,
Does she
and I
seem a
think
little
she
bit
gets
different?
I think she's great. I think she gets
All right.
unfairly criticized. All she does is write huge checks and kind of stays out of the way. I don't know what else you can want for an owner. I guarantee you, our homie Tay Williams would say that's exactly what he would want from his owner to cut huge checks and stay out of the way. Now, if you hire the wrong coach and GM, well, that's another problem. But man, owners own, scout, players play. That's how it's got to be. That I mean, the Cowboys. Jerry first bought the team. He let Jimmy Johnson do his thing. There's a dynasty in the 90s. And we are what going on damn
28,
near 30 years? Damn near 30
28
years?
years.
Shit, dude. There it is.
You know, I think that Jerry Jones suffers from the same disease that Jerry Krause suffered from. The only one fan base who I really know who praises their general manager is the San Antonio Spurs.
Mm,
And with reason too. With reason that why that guy should be praised. And then also
mm-hmm.
Presti in Oklahoma City
Oh,
has
Lordy.
turned dog shit into gold and just has a stockpile for him to be able to put his team in the best position possible.
Mm-hmm.
Had Jerry not wanted to be the superstar, think about how different that they would be. You
Mm-hmm.
already have the most valuable franchise in sports. Why do you need to be the figurehead of just tell me what other owner does press conferences after games? What other owner has his own Tuesday radio show
Mm-hmm.
after games? Just since he can't pull himself out of his way, he's going to be his own downfall.
And they'd
Would
be
it
even
be?
worse without his son.
I think so too.
His son pulls
I
him
think
back.
so too. I've been lucky enough to be blessed to be in a room to listen to Stephen Jones talk, and
Mm,
I don't get the same type of egocentric personality oozing out of him like you do out of Jerry.
mm. Oh, bro. That's your joke right there.
It is. It is. That's my joke right there. Where I say that I wish that some people would just Aaron Hernandez themselves. But man, it's and I don't think that it's for lack of trying. Let's go for a ride real quick. Just remember to leave your cell phone at home. Leave your cell phone at home. For those of you who are younger than me in this new generation, your cell phone is the biggest snitch you have in your crew. Leave your cell phone at home if you're gonna go out here and put in some work. But
And
I
your Apple Watch.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, I don't think it's for lack of trying. Just it's karma when you tell the system that you're smarter than it. Karma has a way to come back to prove that you're not. Hitler's been trying to tell people for years: sit down, be humble. It's, it'll come through. My little buddy's cousin got rubbed because of Snapchat data. Dude, I'm telling you, man, these young kids just don't understand that this thing is the biggest snitch in the world. Keep it
Hmm.
away if you're gonna do something fucking crazy. Almost cost Shannon Sharp $100 million. Think about it. Yeah, man. Um, Interesting to see what they do. Interesting to see what they do. You got a lot of money tied up in Dak. Got a lot of money tied up in CD Lamb. You're still gonna have to pay Michael Parsons. I personally am hoping there's a way that Harry Roseman can fleece them and Michael Parsons can become an Eagle. I think there's part of him that wants to be an Eagle. Said that before. They're just in a very peculiar situation, but you know, NFL too, a lot of parity. You never know from year to year. Never know from year to year. And I'm telling you
Absolutely.
right now, as much as we would all hate it, the highest rated Super Bowl that's coming up is going to be the next one that Dallas plays it.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm. Be the
It
first
well,
one
and
they can sell on pay per view. Tell you that.
shit, yeah. I mean, here's the thing about the Cowboys, and we saw it with the Yankees and the Dodgers just this World Series. You might love them, you might hate them, but all the fans are gonna watch.
The aspect that they have that most of us wish that we had is that their ownership is willing to do whatever it takes to get them to the World Series, not to be competitive in the division, to get them to the World Series. It is championship or bust. February 10th for both of those organizations.
Hmm.
And they position themselves in order to be able to get there. We would love for our ownership for the Mariners to take that type of approach to it. So you can say what you want to about them. They are not cheap. The Guggenheim Group is going to go out and get whoever it is that they need to feel to get them over the top. Steinbrenner's
Hmm.
been doing that for years. Money can't buy you a championship. Well, it sure ain't for lack of trying with the Dodgers and the Yankees.
Yeah, no doubt. I wonder if you heard about this, dude. There's another team out east that is trying all sorts of ways to improve their ball club. Did you hear about the Baltimore Orioles and their stadium decision for this offseason?
No, I have not.
Okay, so as you might recall, the Orioles moved their left field fence back and built a hella tall
Yeah.
wall just 2 years ago. That and as an organization, their front office and ownership decided that it was too prohibitive to hitting, and they decided to adjust it. Listen, Mariners, this is why I wrote this story down because it correlates to the team we love so much. Is they course corrected too much, and Orioles general manager has decided that they're going to move the left field fence in because of a quote overcorrection and to quote find a happier medium. And we know this is a huge play because there are less and less great hitters out there that are available to make people want to hit in your ballpark. And we keep hearing the Mariners hide behind this, hide behind that. We want to be a pitching first ball club, but I've seen the Orioles make two ballpark dimension changes within a 4 year span. You can't tell me the Mariners can't do that type of shit. And once again, I'm trying to help them out here, bro, because it's a lot cheaper to move in the fence and go and get a premier right fielder for damn near $700 million. But clearly, teams can do this, and the Mariners are choosing not to.
For them, I think it's a very slippery slope
Okay.
because if you make that decision now and it affects what's the top five pitching staff in baseball, you're never going
Good
to hear
point.
the end of it. Never going to hear the end of it. Now, do I also think that they're wasting the talent of the people around them in Seattle? Like, I don't feel like I feel that you could get a group of 5 to 10, or I'm not sure how many you would need. You can't tell me there's not enough engineers in the Seattle area to be able to figure out how to make that place to where the pitchers can still have some type of advantage, but it also makes it easier to hit. And I
Mm-hmm.
honestly don't know if both things are true at the same time either. But yeah, with us, I feel it's a slippery slope. With
It
them,
is.
they're not relying on the dimensions and inner workings of the field to be able to help them get somewhere. They've built a great talented team that is playing well and not bitching about the field dimensions to be able to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mariners Lifer, man, let me give you a shout out real quick. This is still a very decisive time right now. Um, we try not to bring that element into this show because it's really not worth talking about other than encouraging you to be a part of the process when the process is running. The process ran. We have a winner. January 20th is coming. Nobody's opinion can change that. Not here to talk about who could or could do something wrong. What we're here to talk about, to me, is the fairest thing that there is, and that's just our love of sports, man. But we're happy to have you with us each and every Sunday, and keep the good comments coming. Happy to have all the chat with us, rocking with us. Thank you guys for coming to join us, and hopefully some of you guys will be willing to be on this show as we move forward. Um, yeah, can't change any of it. Just got to be focused on your money. Um,
No doubt.
just be focused on your money, and I don't believe that whoever is in control stops you or helps you get it. You just got to be a hustler. If you tell
Mm-hmm.
me that you did better with one under the other, that just tells me that you're not working hard enough. When work hard regardless who's in there. Pick up that
Mm-hmm.
overtime. Do what you got to do. Um, Already enough about that. Um, I just definitely think that something in Seattle has to be done. I don't know if it's reconfiguring the field. I don't know if it's what has to be happening with the batter's eye. Um, some guys have had great hitting, seasons in Seattle. Well, maybe Nelson Cruz is the anomaly here, but I just don't understand why, if there's a problem, there's enough smart people in Seattle to help you fix it. It just to me seems like we're doing enough to keep the turnstiles moving, which is great, but I don't cheer for my team to keep the turnstiles moving. I cheer for my team to compete for championships. And maybe I'm naive to think that that's what I'm going to get out of the Mariners, but I expect them to be able to compete for championships, even though we haven't been close to the dance
Mm-hmm.
in 20 some years. But that's what I want out of them. You can fan how you want to fan. You can believe in what you want to believe until we are willing to put some chips in the middle of the table and go for the goal. I, I'm just not up for laser night and drone night. This shit doesn't do nothing for me. I live 1,500 miles away. I I want to see the team be able to compete, and to compete
Mm-hmm.
at a high level. And being good in June doesn't mean shit to me if we suck in September.
That's tough though. I can't even believe you brought it up though, bro. That seems like 15 years ago that we were up by 10 games in the 2024 baseball season. I mean, I
when you
basically
in that
forgot that
battle,
happened.
when you're in that battle to try to try to end these curses and do whatever, every single game matters. Games in June matter.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the ability you have to put your foot on the competition's throat and wipe them out. Like Indy said to us in the group chat, who would have thought that a game on June 10th was going to end up costing us where we sat at in the playoffs? And it's impossible to tell how those teams play off. But while you're trying to get there, every game should get the attention of Game 7 of a World Series. You haven't accomplished shit. What are you leaning back and just, we're fuck that? That Kobe Bryant meme I love to put up so much. Job is not finished. Until
Mm.
you get that goal, that job is not finished. There's a difference between hitting at 5 o'clock and hitting at 7 o'clock when the lights are on.
Damn right.
It makes me angry. And again, I'm never gonna not cheer for the Mariners. Yeah, exactly. Yep. You think the Cavs are taking any game lightly? Nope. They're out to run with it. They're out to run with it because they know that they still have to go through Boston to get something done.
Mm-hmm. Quick
And you
question, man.
won't
Are
be
they
able to
still
get there
undefeated?
and get that done, huh?
Are they still
I'm not
undefeated?
sure. I'm not sure I was gone, but I know the other night that they held on to get to
Okay.
14-0. Yeah. Yeah, just 15-0. 15-0. Yeah, man. Come out up until the goal is done, there ain't no coasting in it. Like that old story of the rabbit and the hare.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbit had a massive lead to pulled over to take a nap, woke up, and the hare across the finish line. Come out every game like it matters. You're trying to change a culture of a city and an organization, and you want to just sit around with your hands up, acting like you've done a good job. You ain't won shit yet.
Mm-hmm. You know what I do love though about the Mariners going forward next year? Although Dan Wilson is a beloved person, basically anywhere he's been in his entire life, Dan Wilson was Lou Pinella's right hand man. Dan Wilson was the one player that Lou Pinella demanded that we traded for. And that was before anyone on planet Earth knew that Dan Wilson would be an outstanding catcher, not your local CPA, bro. So I have a really good feeling that this team is going to be more locked in, day out for 162 ball games next season compared to what we were under Scott. It feels like Scott's really good with the players, but if you're too nice to your employees, if you're too nice to your players, you sometimes got to keep people on edge just enough to get the most out of them.
Mhm. Analytics are good until a point where the one thing the analytics can't do is control the human element. And then there are times that the human element fails, but that's what life is. Life is a human being is failing. I don't know if any of you have watched that the comeback documentary on the on the 0304 Red Sox on Netflix. And to me, it was real interesting that they got Grady Little to be a part of it. And Grady Little died on the hill believing that Pedro Martinez could get the job done
Mm-hmm.
when everything in the world said pull him out of the game. And it was that sequence where Pedro gave up those hits that was the death of letting human beings run baseball and letting the computers in the front office run baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That moment right there was the absolute death of it. And then here we are 21 years later, where we've given the computers too much power
Mm-hmm.
and the human element just doesn't. But also, too, it's just a new type of generation. It's a new type of player. You're not pulling, you're not pulling Jack Morris out of Game 7 of the World Series in 1991, regardless what kind of data and information you have. That's just not happening. But we also don't have dudes that are built like that nowadays either. You know, we've grown to become mentally limited by what we're letting someone else tell us is too much work that we should be putting into. But, you know, I'm not a baseball player. I'm a podcast host and a truck driver.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we decided to do this again. Let's just do this now, and then we can really just dive all over the map. But it's been really fun for football so far for me this year. But I ain't gonna lie, it always is. Analytics, analytics took me a minute to get it, and velo obsession, and that's kind of crazy too because I'm a sucker for hard throwers. I just love guys that frickin' shove it. But that's a perfect segue, RG, because we said we were going to bring it back this year, and we brought it back last weekend. I believe it was probably Mariners Lifer that suggested this guy, but you got to love these guys as coming back, dude. This man played 25 years of Major League Baseball, 25 freaking years of Major League Baseball service. He made starts at age 49. He's the most crafty lefty I've ever seen. My little sister pitched every single inning of every single game for her softball team in high school that placed fourth in state. Shout out to my amazing sister Rosie. Her birthday was earlier this week, but she modeled her pitching game after this guy. 11 years as a Mariner, one time All Star at 40 years old for the Yems. He had a 3.97 ERA. RG, you just said they don't make him like that anymore. Dude had 20 complete games for the Mariners. 20 complete games, 220 win seasons. He wasn't even very good when we traded for him. Became an absolute stud when we acquired him from Boston in 1996. You gotta love these guys. The most crafty lefty I've ever seen. Jamie frickin' Moyer. Thank you and all the hard work you put on the field for our beloved Mariners.
We did a segment that was a part of the program that we used to be a part of, where you asked what Mariner would you most like to sit down and have an adult beverage with? And my answer was Jamie Moyer.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else that has ever rocked that would I want to sit down and have a beer with other than that guy. To be, I love rap music, and Jay Z says there's never been a this good for this long. That should be Jamie Moyer's entrance song everywhere he goes. And I believe too he got to reach the ultimate grail and won a World Series with the Phillies, right? Wasn't he on their team when they won the World Series?
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah, man. So definitely shout out to the ageless one, Mr. Jamie Moyer, man. Just like you said, a guy that they just don't make anymore. They
Mm-hmm.
really don't make anymore. I remember everybody thinking it was a big deal about Sandy Alcantara, and I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. Pitched for the what was it, the Marlins, a couple years ago, and got to 7, 8 complete games, and people were losing their mind. It's like, dude, we grew up in an era where if you weren't out there for 8, 9 innings, it was, wow, this guy's a puss.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, man, shout out to the A's one, Jamie Moyer, man. Got to do some things that baseball's not going to be played that way anymore. So when you look at guys who had longevity like that, we talk about a guy like Tom Brady playing NFL football at 45. LeBron, even though he's going to only be 40, has been playing 22 NBA seasons. Believe Dirk and D Wade and Kobe, he got to 20 seasons. Durant is close um, to getting into 20 seasons with the NBA. Just the longevity to be able to stay healthy and compete at that type of level, man. Just hats off to you, bro. Hats off to you. I don't see myself driving a truck for 20 years. So, yeah, man. Congratulations to Mr. Jamie Moyer, man. Gotta love these guys.
Holla. I love it, man. That was such a great segment we did though too. And I think you really might be one of the only people that would have picked Jamie Moyer would be the number one guy you'd want to sit back and have a couple drinks with.
Because I also know too, if you go to his house, he's got some great age shit.
Oh yeah.
I bet you he's got some great age shit, boy.
I don't. He doesn't seem like a fruity cocktail guy either, though, man. You're gonna put something in a glass straight to the dome that'll put some hair on your chest and taste freaking wonderful.
Put you on that chair, you ain't going nowhere. What do they call this? They call this instant DWI. Sit your ass down. Yes, sir.
Oh man, that's good shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. For sure. For sure. Vaden Podcast Services present us another sports podcast coming to you live each and every Sunday here on YouTube. Shout out to our super producer, Indy, out in Nashville, making the wheels of steel rock for us, making us sound like champions. There's a reason why we can do what you can't do. It's because we got Indy on the board, y'all. Man, so let's break down a little bit of college football here. Interesting week. Oregon survived a scare. Ohio State got us scared for a little bit. Georgia came out and showed their teeth, knocked off the number seventh ranked Tennessee Volunteers. BYU point shaved and cheated at the end of the game. And instead of going for the win at an undefeated season, they called an option to the short side of the field. And then with 5 yards to go to keep their undefeated season going, they threw a pass that went a whole 2 yards. The dude got tackled short.
Oh,
Now, am I a little upset at that because it might have cost me some money? Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, college football is getting really, really, really interesting right now. How do you feel about the teams in position to be able to make a charge, and if the 12-game playoff is a good or a bad thing so far?
it's amazing. I think it's an absolute amazing thing. And sometimes we got to be careful because I know the one major concern was, is this going to take away from the regular season? And to me, it hasn't at all. And if you're a top 20 team right now, I think you got more juice than ever before coming into the final couple weeks of the season, man, because so many more teams have an opportunity to make the tournament. We saw baseball do that recently. We saw football do that recently, and it's basically helped all the sports. Now you can be a naysayer, you can be a hater, and be saying that it waters down the pool, and it obviously does a little bit. But you know what? We want to see teams compete. We want to see the best get at it, and I think it's freaking awesome for college football. And I've put this on wax before, dude. The NIL is leaving some schools completely in the dust. But if you were in one of the top conferences, it's leveled the playing field a little bit. I feel like a school like Old Miss is going to have more of a chance against, say, an Alabama than in the past because they can literally pay their way to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. And it's because our whole lives, bro, it's like you go to a place with a tradition. What school is going to win enough where if I ball out, I can get to the next level, so to speak? Now, man, you pay a little money, keep a kid here, keep a kid there, and it might be a little more topsy turvy. But all I got to say before going back to you, Georgia, if Carson Beck, aka the most overrated quarterback in college football, if that dude just doesn't throw the picks and throw the game away, I could easily see them taking it all the way because they got some dogs like always on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, man. Week by week, I become a bigger fan of the way that this thing is playing out and shaping up. Uh, Texas Power Ranger says, I love how the hierarchy is shaping up. Absolutely, man. What I like is competition amongst the best. And that's exactly what I think that this has given us. Yes, the realignment did break up and do some crazy things. I think it's absolutely insane that UCLA and USC are going to have to travel like 1,500 miles, 15,000 miles in the course of a season to complete their schedule. But I also don't give a damn either. I want to see the best play against the best. I want to see high level of competition go on. The brown bags of money underneath the table had been going on already. Now everybody gets a chance to be able to do it. It's going to make good teams play well, and it's going to make great teams have to find a way to play better. I think that if you pay attention to how some of the games are going, We're already in countdown mode where you got elimination games every week, and Georgia's back was against the wall because if they'd have lost against Tennessee, right out of it. LSU still had a way to backdoor their way into the SEC championship game, right out of it. You know,
Oof.
it's definitely has made things down the stretch a lot more interesting. I listened to one columnist talk about how at this time of year we're not only paying attention to six teams because only six teams have a shot. You don't know who's going to come out of that
Hmm.
bracket right now, and I have no problem with it. Let the power conferences, let the power conferences eat, and then for the guys who out the power conferences, let them compete against each other. There's it's an outside chance, but there's still a chance that two small conferences might get two teams into the playoffs. And I enjoy it and love it, man. I really think that it is up the level of competition. It has really made us pay attention to games. They're going to have to clean up how the standings and the rankings coincide against each other, but I know how to shut my mouth and listen, so I absolutely get it. I understand how BYU could be the ninth team in the country, but number four in the seeding because they're going to win a Power Four conference, or at least they were in the driver's seat to win a Power Four conference until the other night. Yeah, man. So there's still a backdoor chance we might get your boy Deion Sanders into the college playoff, and you know that's going to bring eyes and going to be money. So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for good competition. I want to see the best play the best. There's going to be a lot of Big Ten and SEC schools sweating. This will definitely change the way that a lot of schools handle their scheduling moving forward as well too. And I know that college football schedules, some of your non-conference games are locked 4 or 5 years in advance. And
Yeah.
I know that because me and two of my friends here who are Michigan fans have been hyped for 3 years, knowing that next year the Lobos are going to go play in the big house. Um, but yeah, they're definitely is going to eliminate you having a cupcake Saturday because you're definitely going to need some of these wins. I like how a lot of them have gotten rid of East and West, and we're going to go with the two top teams in the conference are going to play for the conference championship.
Hmm.
Yeah, love that as well too, because you would get years in the SEC where Alabama and Georgia don't play each other, and the two
Hmm.
best teams in the conference don't see each other for 4 to 5 years, and this has definitely changed that. So I'm all for it, man. I want to see it coming. I want to see Dr. Pepper come up with some more creative commercials. Um, I am a little bit of a traditionalist when it comes to the bowl games. Um, and I'll admit it, that's just because of age. I still remember being young enough where my grandfather was more excited for certain bowl games just based off nostalgia than the others. Our personal one that was our favorite was the Fiesta Bowl, just because of our
Oh.
proximity from Albuquerque to Phoenix.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, man, I definitely get it. My grandma from Austin, Texas, so of course the Cotton Bowl is a big thing to her, just because it was played up the street in Dallas. You know, so I definitely kind of got a little bit about that. I do like some of the tradition of the bowl games, but the fact that these bowl games now are going to be used as semifinals and quarterfinals to get teams to the ultimate dance, I'm all for it, man. I think they got a good thing figured out. Players are getting paid. Players are holding out for not getting paid. And, you know, whether you like it or not, we are a capitalistic society. So let everybody have a fair share to get theirs. And let's just keep it rocking.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, as you're well aware of, RG, I am also an employee. I am the labor for a $1 billion conglomerate. So even when some of these athletes, and especially these student athletes, are getting huge cheddar that we could never imagine, I'm still always going to be on their side because they're the ones doing the work for the $1 billion conglomerate. So I'm
Mhm.
always going to ride with the people that are putting in the work in that aspect.
You know, how could, oh my God, Chris Webber should be ashamed of himself. Oh my God, Jalen Rose should be ashamed of himself. Oh my God, Reggie Bush should be ashamed of himself. I just got out here and just put my body on the line for 16 weeks for somebody else to make $1 billion,
Hmm.
and my mama can't get a car.
No doubt. all the administrations living in gated communities. Just saying.
Ah,
It's
man, I
just the
definitely like
principle.
it.
All right, man.
I
You
will
had so
say, I
many
will
eloquent
say, I
words
will
there.
say, I will say, I was mad as fuck when Ed O'Bannon won that trial and they got rid of NCAA football. I was mad as
Oh, because that's all I've been playing the last couple months, bro. Because it's been like 12 years of me feeding for that shit. I remember in high school just going at it with the homies on that game. But you left some really good shit I wanted to respond to though, really quick. You were talking about Colorado, and there's a lot of haters for Coach Prime. It's that simple. But I don't think these people realize the job he's done there because y'all know I'm a Pac 12 fan. I'm a West Coast fan. Colorado's really Midwest, but they're kind of out here a little bit. But man, the Buffaloes football program had one winning season in the previous 18 years before Coach Prime. I repeat, before Coach Prime, one winning season in 18 years. Epic turnaround. No matter what you think of that dude, what he's done at that program is absolutely outstanding. And then I want to bring it home to you down there in Albuquerque, bro, because we were talking about more teams in it, more random games meaning something. Well, Wazoo, the Washington State Cougars, found themselves in the mix. They had hope. The Cougars had hope. The Lobos were under 500. This game until this year would have meant nothing, and instead it's a blockbuster. Talk to me about your New Mexico Lobos and the giant upset to send the Cougars home, disappointed that they cannot make the dance now.
the guy who's our head coach now. His name is Bronco Mendenhall. And when my brothers were playing football for UNM, Bronco was the defensive coordinator. So when we got ready to move on from Rocky Long the first time, there was talk that he should have been the coach and we weren't going to give him a chance. He ended up going to BYU and turned BYU around. Then he goes
Mm-hmm.
to Virginia and turns Virginia around. Happy to have him. What was weird was Bronco's a defensive guy, but when he got here, our offense took off. And really, had it not been for seven bad plays, we should really be 8-4. Just the turnaround has been amazing. Now, what we don't have is big boosters here. New Mexico, even though it's the fifth largest state in size, more people live on the west side of Phoenix than live in this entire state.
Damn.
So, yeah, our state population is just barely over 2 million
Wow.
people. Um, Economy's not great here. Public schools, I don't see how people raise families here.
Mm,
Second worst public school system in the country. And a
mm,
lot of people here who do have money opt to put it other places. So
mm,
it's going to be hard for us to be able to compete just because we don't have the resources to be able to keep someone. If you were to see our running back and our quarterback, I'll put it to you like this: 2 weeks ago, each of them had 250-yard rushing, two touchdowns apiece, and we still lost that game 49-45. Dude's a magician out there, and he's here because Arizona went with the guy from Hawaii. Arizona State was trying to find someone to replace Jalen Daniels, and he wasn't quite the guy. So he comes to State over, and other than his passing percentage and completion percentage, I definitely think someone's going to come snatch him away from here. And there's not really a whole lot that we can do about it. Um, then we had this contract to play Washington State and Oregon State because they needed two teams to play since the Pac-12 went apart. And the smart thing for us to do would have just been to merge, but not all the schools here in our conference are built the same. So they went with the high power. So you're going to have Boise State that's leaving, San Diego State that's leaving. Geographically, Fresno State needed to go as well too. They tried to poach UNLV, but the Nevada State Athletic Commission kind of saved what was left of the Mountain West and told the Pac 12, If you're going to take UNLV, you have to take Nevada. We're not going to let you just take one. You have to take them both. So they came off of them, and we now have the remnants of what was growing to be a good conference. What kept us from going is that our football program has been in shambles for years. Um, Long gone are the days of a guy like Brian Urlacher coming through the system and making us, nationally viable. Um, so yeah, man, we just couldn't. We weren't worth enough. Now Washington State, to their credit, Washington State was like, hey man, their basketball program, they get attendance. Our basketball gym, the pit here, legendary. I don't know if you've ever seen the video of Jim Valvano running around looking for someone to hug after they win the Final Four. Well, that happened here in the pit in Albuquerque, and we naturally,
Okay.
normally rank in the top 15 in home attendance every
Mhm.
year. So the basketball team wasn't the program, wasn't the fault. It's just the football program. I mean, we were 3 seasons away from being put on the death list. Attendance is down. Haven't been playing really good. Thank God for the SEC coming in and being a partner with us and giving us some money to go out and get slaughtered. Um, and then we actually scored some points on Auburn this year. So slowly but surely, we're starting to see some of the benefits from it. We just aren't going to be able to ever put $1 million team on the field because we don't have boosters that'll do that. Plus, some of our coaches that we've had to buy out from the football program by itself is costing us crazy money. I don't know if you've heard of a guy named Mike Loxley. We're still paying him for dumb shit 10 years ago to get
Oh
him
wow.
away from here. Yeah, so our hands are kind of tied, but it all came together last week, man. All came together last week. We went out and beat San Diego State as their goodbye, go enjoy the Pac 12. At the same night, our basketball team beat UCLA, and then we just beat a ranked Washington State on Saturday night. So I remember telling Tyler last week, might want to tell your boys, watch they back when they come here to Bootcay. They may walk out with that L, and they sure did take it. Good for us. In the law scheme, we're going to be one of those schools that's kind of left behind because of how the way the big money works. But
Mhm.
again, that's no fault of the system changing. That's just the way that New Mexico just is.
Well, that's how it goes. And what sucks for them too is all the talk is that there's going to be some sort of revenue sharing on the horizon, but I fully imagine that will just be for the power conference schools. So I doubt that they'll get any of that revenue
Mhm.
either. What I will say though, dude, is Mateer and Dampier can put on a fucking show. If you like
Yeah,
college football, talk about dual threat magicians. I mean, no surprise to you, that's the first time I watched any New Mexico football this year. It's just you're from the Northwest, there's only so much football you can watch in a weekend. And usually I'm watching big games. Huskies are as mediocre it gets, even though they had a big home win over UCLA. I don't know if you heard this, but one thing we say is UCLA is where good players go to get soft. Nah,
that's
man, but if
funny.
y'all need a little YouTube highlights in your light, is it Devin Dampier, I believe?
Yes, sir.
Dual threat magician. This guy is so fun. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be that dude, but he gives you some Kyler Murray vibes back there. Whether you like him or hate him, it's gonna be a fun watch.
Yeah, he's just not a polished passer. So if you're looking for him to throw the ball downfield, you're not going to get a whole lot of that because that's not what our offense is. But yeah, man, you want to go check the dude out, man. Give him a run.
Speedy Gonzalez out there in the desert, bro.
Ándale, vámonos. Hey, Juan.
2K Red Ice. We got our homie 2K Red Ice back. The Cougars choked it. Nah, man. The Cougs do what they do. They couged it. That is a premier line in Washington vernacular. If you fuck anything up at a critical moment, you couged it. Sorry, Cougs fans know it as well.
Yeah, man, it is what it is, dog. It is what it is, but still, it's some exciting playoff football to me. It's already kind of started because now we're in elimination games where there's definitely going to be some teams. Who is the most suspect team in the top 10? That's easy. Penn State.
Mm.
Penn State. Penn State doesn't have a quality win over fucking anybody. There's no way that Penn State should have the a higher ranking as they do. They are
in like
easily the
10
most
years.
shit. If they're like I was telling everybody during the Ohio State game when we was deciding on which way we was gonna put the Benjamins, it was like, hey, there's one thing I know for sure. You don't piss into the wind, you don't pull on Superman's cape, and you never bet on James Franklin to win a big time game. Yeah, for me it's Penn State.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about Notre Dame necessarily either, but Tommy's
Well,
asking, is Oregon legit? I think so. It kills me to say this because I hate the Ducks. There's actually, like I've said this before, there's probably no team I dislike more than the Ducks. But when they got Dan Lanning from Georgia, what the West Coast needs is someone that truly understands the line of scrimmage at the SEC elite college football level, which a Pac 12 school hasn't really seen since Pete Carroll was winning chips down there at USC. And if Oregon truly has a line of scrimmage where they can match up against the dudes from the South, now it's on. But we'll see. We're not going to see it till the playoffs start, and that's what's going to be so fun about this thing.
yeah, it's gonna be fun coming down the stretch, man. Whoever your favorite team is, going ahead and ride by them. If your favorite team ain't in it, sit back, grab some popcorn, grab your adult beverage of your choice, roll something up, put something on that table with a $20 bill, you know what I mean, and just get ready to enjoy it, yo. Vaden Podcast Services is not responsible for the crazy shit that comes out of my mouth. They do not condone certain use of certain things. But I'm young, black, and just don't give a fuck. I say what I want.
Hey, man, if you want an uptight podcast that's going to give you the rated G version of everything, you might want to change the channel.
And absolutely. I mean, this time last year, I went on a whole tangent comparing the Mariners' root situation to a drug dealer fucking up his re up. That's what we do here.
Hey, man, I mean, basically the highest level sports commentators there are right now are the ones that work in analogies and metaphors. That's all that shit is. It's just from your point of view.
Now, an interesting segue again. Speaking of announcers, Dave Sims is now the voice of the New York Yankees. A very interesting topic conversation to be had amongst Mariner fans. It's split down the middle. Either you love or you hate the guy. I understand that he has gotten a little bit up in age and maybe is losing that fastball a little bit. But to what he represents to me, I'm a Dave Sims fan. Now, I have heard the stories about he's not the most friendliest person in the world when he's approached on the street by Mariner fans. And I absolutely understand that as well, too, especially to be in his position where the fans make or break his career. But I also think he has had one hell of a career and very accomplished. And the fact that he's going to media market number one has to say something about his talent. Ty,
Mhm.
talk to the people.
The biggest problem for fans is that when you grew up on Dave Niehaus, y'all got to remember Dave Niehaus was the only Mariners Hall of Famer until Griffey Jr. became eligible. And so a guy like Dave Sims gets unfairly criticized, in my opinion, because everybody just wants Dave to be reborn again. But guess what, man? That tombstone isn't moving. He's not coming back. And the most important thing, and I think this is why we work well together, is you got to be yourself. Dave Sims can't come up in here trying to be like Dave Niehaus. He's got to be Dave Sims, and he's a professional. I like that he is not afraid to interject his old school opinions. And maybe it's just where we are in the day of age in terms of baseball watching. But it feels like almost all the commentators are pickle licking the analytical side of things and not digging into baseball the way baseball needs to be played. And I'm not against analytics, I've never been. But there's a time and place for everything. There's small ball. I swear, Dave Sims would get more hyped on a bump base hit than a grand slam, and that tells you more about today's era of baseball than Dave Sims. But like you said, though, RG, I mean, he is. let's be real. He is a major minority in the business in which he works, and he's done an incredible job for several decades. Y'all don't know he's done Super Bowls, playoffs, Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night. This dude has done it all. It's actually, when you look at his national resume, it's kind of surprising he ever took the job with the Mariners in the first place. To me, it feels he just loved baseball that much. And you said it, man, going to the freaking New York Yankees. I mean, it's as big as it gets. That simple. And to top it off, it's one of the only media markets that still indulge in the radio at a decent level, where most communities in the world, the traditional radio has died already.
Absolutely, man. To get a chance to fill the shoes of the man he's replacing is going to be a big undertaking. It's not going to be easy at all. New York media is not forgiving, neither are the fans. So we'll get a real good pulse of it, but I think he'll be able to handle himself, and I just wish him the best, man. I wish him the best. I'm not gonna spite an announcer. That just seems like a waste of energy to me. That you'll spite an announcer, but you'll pat Jerry DePito on the back for getting us to one playoffs in 10 years on his fucking job. But
And
again,
I
I'm
can
not gonna tell you
understand
how
if
to
you're
fan.
watching yourself. If you're watching by yourself, I get it. But honestly, most games I don't pay that much attention to the commentators, and it's maybe because my wife's trying to read and I'm bugging the shit out of her with all of my on the couch analysis. But either way, she's going to hear me spout off my mouth whether she likes it or not. But I think that's the beauty, though, man. That's the beauty. She can decide to listen. She can roll her eyes and be like, yo, I'm trying to read here. But either way, I think people get a little, not a little, people get way too wrapped up into what the commentators say, getting so angry or frustrated. I'm like, whatever, man. I'm not there to listen to the commentators. If the guy is great, like we said, I said off the air with Indy, I think Greg Olson is a fantastic or
Yes.
analyst. Greg Olson is fantastic at his job. But if it's someone that annoys me like Mark Sanchez, does it make me change the channel or enjoy the game any less? No. The commentator makes no difference. It's how my team's playing on the field. That'll decide how I'm feeling.
True, man. I like Greg Olson as well too. I definitely think it's a little unfortunate he lost his job to a rookie, but when that rookie is probably the greatest quarterback that the NFL has ever had, and he wants to give his hand at TV, hey man, it happens. Tay Williams, I love to see them Niners in shambles. All I can see on the gram is Niner fans crying about Kyle needs to go coach in college or something. Dumb. I'll tell you this,
Please
bro.
fire him. Please
I, I
fire him.
I'll
Please.
tell you this. I'll tell you this. Without the biased opinion of the Seahawk Nation over there on the other side of the screen, um, injuries, man, injuries are a huge part of keeping a solid team like that together. The economics of the sport are already tough enough to try to keep and build a dynasty, but when you have that many injuries and players not being able to get out on the field, I don't know what it is that they expect. Um, just gonna have to take this down year. They'll be all right. They'll rebound. I'm happy to see it too. Just like I said, all the shit that they talked about the Eagles last year and how they broke us, which may or may not have been true, but that rent is always due, and the devil will come back for his when it's time to get that re up. So let him suffer for right now. But just parity in sports is good to see. So we'll definitely see what happens. The NFC is wide open. So there's no real other than Detroit really. And I'm an Eagle fan, and I can tell you we still have some holes that need to be filled. Thing that's going to hold us back is our head coach and our quarterback. Don't always make the best decisions, but NFC is wide open. What if they fire him and hire the OC in Detroit? Dude, Ben, I can't think of his last name
Johnson.
right now. Ben Johnson. I became a fan of that dude when they were playing the Cowboys and he wanted payback for last year and ran a hook and ladder to Penny Soul. And if it wasn't for one of their linemen being downfield, that was the most athletic move I've ever seen a big man make to get the ball in the end zone. It was fucking crazy. He don't give a shit. They let Jacksonville have it today.
What
They
happened
they
there?
let Jacksonville have it. Who gives a shit? I love it. None of this. Oh well, we're up 20 points. We don't need to do much. No, I can, like Jimmy Johnson said, I am only responsible for coaching one team on one side of the field, and if we are rolling, it's up to you to stop us, not for me to call the dogs off. That shit was so gangster today.
Is it coach pitch little league or is it the NFL, man? That's what we got to ask ourselves.
For
No
sure,
feelings.
man.
And shit, let's be real. All these guys are hired to be fired, man. I'd be on my game like that too, man. It's job security, literally.
Yep. I mean, I got one purpose in life: to whoop your ass. I've heard a lot of professional fighters talk about I don't want to punch your face in, but it's the business I'm in. And
Hmm.
it's not really up for me to stop until the ref tells me to stop. I love it.
We all got a job to do. Do it well. Bro, dude, we've been just rolling on it. We did a live rolling because we just started shooting it real well to start, man. Well, here at Mariner Lifer, the one thing I want to get off my chest right now is if they fire Kyle Shanahan, would you want him on the Seattle Seahawks? And I would have to think long and hard about it. Super Bowl collapses or not, this dude has been running us since we got rid of Russell Wilson. And quick shout out to my cousin Jeffrey, who's a giant Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Huge win for the Steel City today. Russell Wilson, turn back the hands of time, baby.
You gotta let Russell do what he's good at. And he
Yes.
could throw that go ball. He could throw that go ball. Think they have another matchup against each other that the division should come down to them. Real exciting to be able to see it. Love the resurgence. Baltimore is going to have to bounce back. It's a great time, man. It's a great time. Um, an 8-2 team who doesn't get any mention is Minnesota, just because
Ooh.
Detroit has such a stranglehold on everything up there. Then you even take a look at the Packers and the Bears today, where the curse of Aaron Rodgers just can't subside the Bears organization. And I was hoping that some players, after they blocked the field goal, were going to be running around saying, "We still own you. We still own you." Yeah, man. Good times. Good times. A lot of good sports to be able to be played. We'll start to get into some college basketball, some NBA. Shout out to my Phoenix Suns, off to a good start. Durant's kind of hurt right
Yeah.
now, so I would love to see him be able to come back. Vikings won today because of the refs. Hey, it happens, man. It happens. Vegas still has their hand on the pulse of how these games run, whether you believe it or not, buddy. Um, but yeah, man, yeah, still good sports to be had. Good sports to be had. Great time to be a sports fan. One of the ultimate sports days is coming up next week. Well, the week after next, and Thanksgiving. I still wish that they would kind of flip up the matchups, but maybe I don't feel that way now that the Lions don't suck anymore. Uh,
Yeah, but the Cowboys are terrible, so they just flip flop, bro.
that is true. That is true. We're also going to have to watch some mediocre football played on some level on Thanksgiving. But yeah, man, it's starting to get good, man. Starting to get real good. NFL is going to start getting real interesting. Of course, as baseball begins to heat up, the winter meeting and the hot stoves and deals actually get made. We are a Mariner centric podcast. Um, so we'll definitely dabble into some of that as we move forward. But hey, there's a lot of good shit going on. For those of you who are UFC fans, shout out to the homie who trains here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the most dangerous man alive, John Bones Jones. Upsets, defeats Stipe Miocic, third round body kick knockout in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Also announces he's not going to retire. So now, if you Aspinall fans really want to see how this thing goes down, you just might get your wish. Um, talk about it real quick. I think you're out of your fucking mind if you think that John Jones is scared of Tom Aspinall. John Jones has done nothing but ran through killers from the moment he got in to the moment he's going to get out of this thing. I would equate it more to the same reason why Pacquiao and Mayweather didn't fight when we wanted them to fight, because that's a one-sided equation that one guy has more to lose than the other. Tom Aspinall could lose to John Jones, and then within a year be the undisputed champion, and none of you would remember that. John Jones loses to Tom Aspinall, that's the end of his life for him. So until Aspinall is a worthy enough opponent that he has something just enough to risk as John Jones does, I'm all right if that fight never happens. And no, it's not ducking. It's just business, dog. It's just business. I'm not gonna go fight. I'm not gonna go fight a guy who has nothing to lose. I got everything to lose. So when he has something worth losing or worth taking, then we can go square up for it. I personally would love to see him and Alex Pereira, danger versus danger. I do think it might be a little bit of a lopsided fight just because John is the most overall, is a more complete fighter with the skills and the disciplines that he has. But that's the thing about the fight game, and styles make matchups. So yeah, man, a lot of good sports coming up. Even on the boxing tip, I'm not going to talk about that exhibition that took place in Jerry Jones Stadium because it wasn't not worth talking about a 60-year-old man who's almost has died 4 times in the last 8 years. But we are going to get a chance to see the rematch for the heavyweight championship here in about a month and a half between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. So a lot of good sports, depending on what you're a sports fan of. A lot of good shit coming up. So hopefully you can enjoy it with the people you love, man, as we move forward. Ty, anything else you got for the people?
Hey man, you said it. We still ride or die with the Mariners, but we're not going to be doing it like we've done in other iterations where we talk about nothing on end. When big shit happens, we will be all over it. When the season's in full swing, we'll be there. But we are going to roll with the seasons. And you said it, bro. I'm still rocking with the Suns because they got Kevin Durant, and he is the last remaining Seattle Sonic out there.
Who are they? What do they play? Tetherball.
Oh boy.
I don't think I've
He's
ever
just
heard of
trying to
these
get me riled up.
Seattle
The most
Sonics.
popular team of the night. Oh my god.
Oh man, you know
Sean
what? I
Kemp.
do know them.
You know
I
Sean
do
Kemp
know
owns
them.
some dispensaries up here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I hope it's called Rain Man. I hope it's called Rain Man for sure. Oh man, Vaden Podcast Services presents My Oh My. It's another sports podcast coming to you live each and every Sunday night, live over the airways of Twitch and YouTube. Shout out to our super producer Indy in Nashville, who makes it sound like $1,000,000 each and every week, dog. For more content and more exclusive content, be sure to follow us on our socials at My Oh My ASP. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X, LMNOP, MySpace, Facebook. Shout us out from the rooftop. Catch us out on Snapchat for some of the shorts that we have coming up. We will be starting, for some of you who like to toss around some dough and trying to make some money on these things, we will start an analysis on that to see if we can help you get up your bankroll. Big shout out to our social media director, Katie Masamoto, for making all of that run as perfectly as they do. For those of you who are unable to catch us live on Sundays, you can always catch us when these episodes drop on your favorite podcast systems on Monday and Tuesday. I prefer to use Apple. Again, big shout out to Vaden Podcast Services for all the support that they do. That's the homie Ty Talks coming to you live from Little Lake Stevens, Washington. I'm that boy RG, Albuquerque, New Mexico's finest. We'll see you each and every Sunday night for a new edition of My Oh My. It's another sports podcast. Don't forget to go to YouTube and check out Death to Indies music page so you can see he's got more talent than just telling us what to do in a secret tone on these microphones, y'all. Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Time to roll.